What's up, y'all? My name is Hamasa, and welcome back to Prison Architect. And check it out, guys. We have a massive illness starting to spread through the prison. All these green bodies here are people who have been infected, and it's just about to be yard time, so I have a feeling that we're gonna see a lot more infection before the end of this episode. I do have some medical staff up here that's trying to work on curing some of these guys. They look to be having a bit of a seizure at the moment, but yeah, check it out. We're heading into yard time. All these normal sec guys are completely uninfected, but as I'm sure we'll see, there's going to be some massive infections going on. Oh, did I just find a tunnel? What is this, doggy? You go there. It seems like there might be a tunnel in this area. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. Let's head back to the yard. So yeah, it's been a bit of a while since we last caught up with the prison. I had been trying to start riots in different areas of the prison. As Simon Barnaby just contracted some sort of syphilis AIDS. The shower riot was a success. I mean, the riot kicked off, but it was quelled. There was only one prisoner who, in that scenario, had gotten into the armory and then took a shotgun to the head of a few of my guards, but for the most part, I was pretty satisfied with how the prison held up, and realistically, there would never be that many people in the shower for that long for a riot to kick off. But, you know, I was trying to start a riot in the yard, but it just wasn't happening. I mean, occasionally we'd have some fist fights, and you know, a small 10-person riot would break out, and it would get quelled rather quickly. So, yeah, I couldn't really make an episode about it because it was just not, you know, a riot. You can't have a riot episode without a riot, right? So, we're just gonna come on back and say that the northern section of the prison now is pretty much done and almost fully automated. There's a few odds and ends I gotta fix up, like what was it that I just saw? Oh yeah, this here. We need some utility lines, electrical power. Running, that's not what I meant to do at all. How about let's try like electrical cable and not whatever the hell I just tried to put down. Some water valves. Well, I guess I can use those at some point to like punish prisoners and turn off the hot water in the showers if they're being like dirty little bastards. But let's just get all these things connected up. That looks a little bit better now. I had to install a few more metal detectors because there's so much contraband getting into the prison, and look at this. I have a lot of sickness going on. How many do we have sick? Does it tell me? Where do I learn this information? 89 infected. That's 81% of my total prison. I don't think I have the medical staff to handle this, guys. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a few syphilis AIDS related deaths in this episode. Hopefully not too many, because I will, you know, lose the scenario and lose the whole prison. So if that's the case, it might be, we might be starting a new prison next episode. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're just gonna let things continue here. Right now, the maximum security guys are completely unaffected, which is good. I don't want these guys to be getting infected, and also means that for the most part, these guys are interacting with the rest of the prison, which is kind of working as intended. This will be the protective custody wing eventually, so I really don't want anybody who's involved with this area here to be getting infected, because that would... Oh God, excuse me, I'm gassy today. That would kind of lead me to believe that there's too much contact between the different populations, and protective custody is gonna get fucking shanked if they are, like, mingling with these guys. Like this sick guy here. He's sick and overheating. It's probably really hot in that kitchen is why. I wonder if I could put like a window in there, if that would make a difference. Is there just like a window? It's not a cell window. Yeah. Well, I mean, technically it's still a cell window, but we'll throw those in. Maybe that'll alleviate some of the heat problems. Oh, we found drugs. Who has drugs? Scott Patton. 3 hours in solitary for finding the drugs. He didn't get high off them yet, but he is, like, is he a gang member? He's wearing the blue bandana. But he doesn't have any tats on him. Maybe he's like an initiate. He wants to be a gang member, but he's, you know, he's not yet, but he's working on it. The workshop's been doing quite nicely. It's making me a good amount of money in exports. check our cash flow. Exports $10,000 yesterday. Sweet. We also had an update in between episodes here. It's been a long while, so of course the game's updated, and it was kind of exactly what I thought it was going to be. If you go down to policy, you see like this new staff thing down here. So now instead of the staff needs just affecting guards, it's actually the entire population of staff. So you know, the janitors, the cooks, the gardeners, you know, all the people, even probably like my staff, like my warden and accountant and stuff. I would imagine it probably affects them too. But so instead of saying that, you know, I'm gonna have a certain amount of time on break, it's just they take the breaks when they need it, but only a certain percentage of the staff can actually be on break. So I'm gonna say 15% for now. We'll kind of see how that goes. In the needs tab, staff needs seems to be pretty satisfied. So, you know, if these kind of start changing, then we will have to change things up a little bit. It looks like clothing is becoming somewhat a need for the prisoners. They're taking care of their comfort. So perhaps I'll get a few more prisoners working in my laundries. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, say like 10 in there, and then where's my other laundry? That's the shop, kitchen laundry, 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 and 10. Okay, so that should like get laundry done a little bit faster in theory. We'll, you know, see how that kind of goes. It's also going to bring more money into the prison because these guys will get paid for their work. Hopefully minimum wage, because these guys are just standing around doing a real shit job right now. Ricky Bobby and Steven Stonelake and Gareth Darley. It says they're working. They're getting paid. It's like a penny a second. So how much would that work out to be? 60 cents an hour? Yeah, I'd say that's probably about minimum wage. But anyways, so these guys get paid, but then they go down to the shop, and the new and improved shop, which is freaking huge now, they're buying all sorts of commissary down here and spending their money. Like, look, here's Chris DeLay. He's got $8.29 in cash. Look at that. Spent $5 whole dollars, and it looks like you bought a chocolate bar. Is that what you bought, Chris? A chocolate bar? Is that how you? He just ate the chocolate bar super quick. A $5. See, okay, so they get paid like $1 an hour, and they're willing to spend it on a $5 chocolate bar commissary. So I mean, realistically, I think I'm making out better of having them kind of do like the work thing, because then they just end up, you know, like spending it all on chocolate bars that cost 5 hours worth of work. So hopefully Tim's, what are you doing with that screwdriver? And he's sick, needs treatment. Pretty much like most of my prisoners are sick. 81 are infected right now. The medical staff isn't big enough to handle this infection, like I said earlier, so, and it doesn't look like they're trying to actively like solve anything, so we're gonna try and be a little bit more proactive with that. We'll send a few into the eats areas and see if they can't, you know, administer some needles where needed. Oh, see, like this guy. He's Kieran Danholt, who is pretty sick. He's probably not on the verge of dying, but he wasn't looking too hot about, shit. We just had a cross-contamination into maximum security now, so my entire prison is gonna be sick, and hopefully at some point gets treated. Who the fuck keeps trying to steal things? Mark Grant. Violent disorder charges, and he's trying to steal screwdrivers out of my workshop. Son of a bitch. Okay, well, we caught him anyways. Metal detector working as intended. So yeah, I don't even know where it was. So this top section of the prison is pretty much done. Maybe there's a few tweaks I'm going to do to it. I might put in like a guard tower. I don't know. I got this whole big like perimeter fence thing going on, so it's tough for them to escape. And I haven't really had any escapes. Have I had any escapes? I've had 4 escapes, but none recently. And no staff fatalities, which is fantastic. A couple deaths in custody in cousins. The cousins were stabbing each other. No one executed yet. 88 prisoners paroled. Only 3% is the reoffending rate, and overall of releases, almost 9% is the reoffending rate. So that's pretty good considering parole's like 18%. So I'm pretty happy with how things are going in the prison up here. So once we get enough money to buy this like 9,000 square meters down here with 45,000 generic currency dollars, we're going to be starting on the maximum sec and super max sec part of the prison, which is going to be like the super jail area, and I got some cool plans for that, like, you know, like some stabby fighting areas and different things, but don't have the money for that now. I'm getting closer and closer, so I might have to, you know, like fast forward through a couple days and actually try and make all that money like kind of more quickly, because it's taken a little bit longer to do it than I really wanted it to, but you know, it is what it is. Look, I can plant a tree. How about like a staff door? Do I have like a staff door? Yes, I'm gonna put a staff door in up here. Maybe that'll help a little bit about the flow of people in and around and out of my prison area here. So there's no deaths so far with the sickness. People are getting treated a little bit more quickly than I thought they were. Let's see, who's super sick? Like this guy, Ed Parkin, is really, really sick. But it doesn't seem to be doing anything. Like, do they die? I don't know if they die. It doesn't look like they die. They're not like vomiting or anything. This guy's treated, so his sickness will be going down. I mean, I don't know, maybe this isn't going to be a disaster. Maybe it's just going to kind of work out the way that it's intended to work out, where the people get the needles and they feel better, and then that's the thing that happens. Maybe that's just what's going to happen here. So, yeah, so this is fairly riot-proof. Oops, somebody's got SIGs. Bad boy. Benjamin. He's a murderer. He's only 22 years old. I mean, that's a young age to be starting a cigarette addiction. He's gonna probably die of cancer in prison before I have a chance to like execute him. So yeah, this prison's pretty much done. So I'm really happy with what's going on up here. For the most part, people seem to be pretty happy. Like, they just do their thing, and there's minimal fights. We have a fair amount of contraband, and why do you have a knife in my common room, Paul? What is your experience? You have 30 days in my jail, and you've been a bad boy. Failed his parole hearing, probably because he's carrying knives around. That would be my guess. So, yeah, so this is pretty much like a thing right here, and I'm very satisfied with it. Hopefully, there aren't any massive escapes. I do have a couple dormitories, which are, you know, kind of, they're made to be escaped from, because you get all these guys working together, like, making tunnels and stuff, and you get like 16 people making a tunnel at once, and that kind of makes things, like, you know, dangerous, because they can tunnel pretty far in a night. But, you know, I haven't seen that so much. The few escapes we've had are pretty minimal. I mean, 4 people escaped at my prisons. You know, I mean, obviously I don't want them to, but, like, you know, shit happens every now and again, and you know, we deal with it. So, yeah, I think probably the sickness thing seems to be not an issue, as I kind of thought it was going to be an issue. Oh, all these people are getting out of the infirmary doing their drug class, and they tried to bring drugs. Look at you guys. Look at you. Found drugs. Found drugs. Found drugs. Going to solitary. Sons of bitches. But yeah, so I think that's probably like a good catch-up episode for you guys. The sickness thing kind of was pretty lame. I mean, I was, you know, kind of hoping that people would be like more sick or like die, but they don't die. They just get treated, and then they feel better. So overall, the heat is super low. There's people who actually think that, like, you know, they're well treated in this prison still. So maybe I need to be a little bit more harsh on my punishment area. But for now, I think we're going to call that an episode, and we're going to save up some money, and we're going to buy some land, and then we're going to build the lower section of the prison, and we'll get started on the real fun part, which is going to be bringing in lots of super max awesome assholes into the prison and working out how exactly we can control them without, you know, having full-scale riots and killing all my guards. But yeah, so thanks for hanging out again with me today, guys. Playing some more Prison Architect, catching up, finally. Been a while, I know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you like what I'm seeing, doing. If you don't, then, you know, like, let me know what I could do better. Like, don't just tell me I suck. I mean, unless, you know, you just think I suck. So, look at this. He had a needle too? He had a needle and a screwdriver? Dude, what kind of a drug addict are you? I guess that's just that prison life. But yeah, anyways, guys, we'll catch you next time right back here on Prison Architect.